Yeah, g'day guys, welcome to another episode of Shenke Garage. So in this episode, we're gonna run some brand new brake lines on the HX 1-tonner and also just got some parts I'm gonna install onto the engine. So we'll jump straight into the video and hope you enjoy. Okay, so today's episode, we've got a few more parts arrived for the tonner. So I've just gone and picked up these headers from Competition Coatings here in Brisbane and really bloody stoked with how they've turned out. Awesome coating on them headers. I think it was definitely worth getting them done. So it was about a 10-day wait to get these ones back, and they've coated on the outside and then also on the inside as well. So I've also just got this bracket from Billet Engineering. So I've just ordered this one off eBay. So just a power steering bracket. Just wasn't happy with the old style original bracket. I just think it looks ugly, so I just wanted to dress the engine up a little bit more, so I just ordered one of these power steering brackets, so can start fitting that up as well. Okay, just got a heap of brake parts as well that I can start running the brake lines to the rear. So I've just got some 316 Bundy tube that I ordered off eBay. So it comes with two different style nuts, so some shorter ones and some longer ones. Took me ages to try and track this stuff down around town, and in the end I just ordered it off eBay. So also just got some stainless steel hoses. So this one here will be for the rear, and that'll split off to the left and right brake caliper. And then these ones, I thought I'd just order another set of the Wilwoods stainless steel hoses. So I'm pretty sure these are the same as the front, but the intent there is just to run hoses to the rear caliper, just so if I ever need to remove the caliper or change the brake pads, then you don't have to crack the hard lines and then have to bleed the brakes again. So I've just got some flexi hose there to each caliper. Also just got some brackets, so these are just stainless steel brackets and some stainless steel bolts just to mount the Bundy tube. So yeah, we'll get cracking straight into it and start running these brake lines. Okay, so making brake lines, gonna need some specialized tooling. So I've just picked up this double flaring kit. So I got this from Trade Tools. It's got the tube cutter and then also the double flaring tool. So this does from 316 all the way up to 5/8. It's got all the little dies in there. And I've also just ordered this tube bender from eBay. It seems a little bit cheap and nasty. It's made of plastic, but it should do the job. Okay, so the first thing I've done here is just made up this simple little bracket. So I've just picked up this bolt here on the diff, and then bolted from here into this adapter here. So then what I'll do, this flex line will just mount to roughly about there on the cross member, and then that will allow flex for the diff to go up and down. And also, yeah, there's a T-piece on this section here, so that'll tee off to the left and the right hand brake caliper. Okay, so I've just got the old brake line here, so I'll just use that as a bit of a reference to make up the new one. So you can see that there is a joiner in the middle. So there's this little joiner piece here that went in the middle. So I think I'll just do the same and make it in two pieces. That way, yeah, it's just if it leaks up in one section, then you don't have to replace the whole lot there. So I've just got this front brake tube section sitting in here roughly. So I've just put the nut on one end. I haven't flared it yet, but that's just sitting in this valve. So I've just put a 90 degree here, another 90, and it just follows the chassis, drops down, and then yeah, follows the chassis around. So yeah, once you get the 90s put in, it's pretty easy to sort of hand bend the rest of it to follow this around here. I'll probably just put another bend in here so it sits up nice and flush into here. And then yeah, I'll sort of get it sitting nice, and then I'll start the rear section. Okay, so to flare the end of these tubes, you want to put the tube into this jig with it hanging out roughly about 3 to 4 mil, or there is a little adapter die that you can put up onto the jig, and you want the end of the tube coming out flush so it's on the shoulder of this die, if I can get that to focus. So you want it to be level with the shoulder. So once you've got that sitting in there, you just put this die into the end of the tube. Then you want to put this clamp onto the jig and basically tighten up, and that will flare the outside. So you don't want to over tighten it, but just so it sort of gets firm. So you back that off. Then you want to remove the die, and then you can flare the inside of the tube by then winding the clamp down. And back off. And then that's the flare done. So then, yeah, you just take it out of the jig. And that is one flare completed. So that is the brake tube ran to the back. So that pretty much, I'm gonna mount that just there. So I'm gonna have to make up a bracket for there. So yeah, that just follows that cross member, turns into a 90, follows the chassis in through the cross member here, and then out the other end, and then joined up to that joiner there. Okay, so the next step will be to start making the tubing that goes from the T-piece to either side of the caliper. So I've just taken the wheel off just to make it a lot easier to get to. So you can see on the caliper, I've got a 90 degree coming out of that, and then I've got the hose attached to that. So with this kit from Wilwoods, so the part number is 220-7699. That comes with the two flexi hoses, the 290 degrees, so that is a gas type fitting that goes into the caliper, and then coming out of that is I think it's an AN type, and then so then you go from the hose, and then on the other end you'll have this adapter here that goes from AN to the flange type for the brake line. Okay, so coming out of the brake caliper, on the other end of this flexi hose, I've just made up this sort of 90 degree bracket. So I put a hole in there for that adapter to go through, and then I've got this tab locking that in. So then what I'll do is I'll weld this to roughly about there to the diff housing, and then from there I'll make a hard line coming from there to the T-piece. Okay, so that is all the brake lines all ran and all connected up. So I've just made these two hard lines from the clamps up into the T-piece, and I've just cable tied all the hard line all down the chassis. So I'm not going to clamp it yet. I'm going to wait till I fit the fuel tank and then run all the fuel lines all up this side of the chassis as well. And then once the fuel lines are all ran up, then I can clamp everything all nice and neat. So that is all connected to the proportional valve, and then once I fit the cab, I can fit the Wilwoods master cylinder and then run the rest of the brake lines to there. I'm not sure whether I am going to need that proportional valve, but I'll leave it connected up for the time being. Just because this one here is designed for drum rear brakes and discs on the front. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to need this or not, just because potentially it may lock up the rear before the front. So I'm going to have to get it all bled up and take it for a drive once it's drivable, and then have to go from there. So I know that Wilwoods do make a proportional valve, so I may have to replace this one with that possibly, but we'll just have to wait and see. So with that, I can start fitting this bracket to the power steering, so I can get rid of this ugly looking bracket here and fit the new billet style. Okay, so I've got the headers bolted in loosely for the time being, and what a million bucks that looks. Definitely looks a hell of a lot better than what they looked like before. So I think it was well worth the money getting them headers ceramic coated. So it was 380 bucks to get them done, and I think it was definitely well worth that. So I've also got this bracket mounted in there, so that looks a hell of a lot better as well. This power steering pump, that is right at the end of its travel, and this belt is just flopping around. So I'm gonna have to source a new belt, which is no biggie. There is a slight sort of bit of a clearance issue. There's not a whole lot of room there, but as long as I get the right belt, that's not gonna be an issue either. So really happy with how all that's turned out. So I will put a link in the description of competition coatings here in Brisbane. So if you're interested in getting your headers coated, I'll leave a link in the description for them. And then also for this bracket from Billet Engineering, I'll put a link to their website in the description also if you want to check them out. So I guess with that, I'm going to be waiting for this drop tank. It won't be too long until I get that. I'm hoping probably another week, and then that'll arrive and I can start fitting this drop tank in and then plumb up the whole fuel system. The rack and pinion kit is on its way, so I'm hoping that will probably arrive Monday or Tuesday, and then I can fit the rack and pinion, get all the steering done. So and then it's pretty much at the point of I'll be able to fire this thing up. So looking forward to firing this thing up. So I'm hoping maybe in 2 or 3 episodes time, I should be able to start this thing up for the first time. Well, the first time for the channel. Okay, so if you want to see some more content on the HX 1 tonner, then hit that subscribe button below. Also hit that bell notification to give you regular updates on when a new video comes out. Also, I'll put a playlist up in this corner here of the HX 1 tonner from the very first episode all the way to the latest. So have a binge on that if you are new to the channel to check out the build so far. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll leave it with that. So we'll see you next time on Shenke Garage. Cheers.